is fun.
It is fun.
This is an episode of People of Country Music with Drake Whitey.
Yeah.
One of my favorite humans in all of country music. I'm like beyond proud of you and everything that you have done in the kind of the short time that I've known you. Tell me about where you began with this amazing journey and where you found, I think initially, your passion for country music.
Yeah, I've always had a kind of a different something in my head, something in my heart. I've always felt like that I was wanted to do something massive. I used to hang out in my closet and with a lot of records, my dad's records and stuff, and I could like close my eyes and see like thousands of people, and I had no idea what it meant.
Yeah.
I had no idea what it was or what that, what that yearning was. It just kind of happened. But I'm from a very small town in North Alabama and grew up singing in church. And my dad's a great singer. My mom's a cosmetologist and a great singer and kind of a entertainer type person. Like she loves to entertain people and so just kind of came through that. Just a very modest upbringing and taught to love people and be who you are and don't take no for an answer. Just go out there and do what you want to, be who you are and love people and that's how kind of music was to me. It was very I didn't think about it too much. I just started playing it when I was really young and then really
Did you write? When did you start writing?
I always jotted stuff down when I was like 14 or 15, but I didn't really start writing music until after high school,
Okay.
until I was in college and started studying and I feel like the studying and the kind of the intellectual classes and all the stuff that I was taking, like that jogged me to write, to really write down what I was thinking and what I was doing,
That's awesome. Did your parents see it initially in you that this was something that this is exactly what you were going to do with your life and they could foresee the future or no?
That's a good question. I don't think so. I mean, the first time my mom ever heard me sing, like other than in church, was we were just randomly. There was a beauty pageant and a guy couldn't sing a Edwin McCain song. It's like "I'll Be" or something. Remember that song? Like
yeah,
that?
I'll be your grandchildren.
And I was like, well, I can sing it. We were in ag class.
Oh my goodness! Wait, how old are you at this point?
I was 17 or 18.
All right.
And I was, blasting out the door real quick, and I don't think I've ever told this story.
No.
I was blasting out the door real quick, and Mom was like, where are you going? I was like, oh, well, I'm singing at the beauty pageant. Like, it was literally a beauty pageant for our high school.
I love this.
And Tyler Elliott, a friend of mine, played the guitar, and I sang that song, and my mom was blown away. She was like, hey, when did you start doing this? And it kind of went from that to really having a band and really getting into it.
Did you have your band in high school, or when did you start a band?
No, I didn't start a band until we were in college, and it was just a really small kind of very free thing. We never really defined the relationship, if you will. We were just out playing sororities and fraternities and every bar that would give us a free bar tab or money to go play it.
Yeah.
So Auburn was where that kind of started and I just stood there. I just stood in a lot of bars and played a lot of things and saw a lot of things and it just now looking back at it, it looks pretty perfect, but in the middle of it was crazy as shit.
Sure. Yeah. Did you find somebody in particular during that time, when you were 17 or when you started playing, that besides your parents that you really looked up to? And I think that your voice is so unique and so soulful and sounds a little bit like New Orleans mixed with Nashville or whatever, so who sort of inspired you for that
well,
sound?
I've always been drawn to the eclectic, right, or to the John Prine's and to the way that the guys like Guy Clark and the people that were a little bit deeper in the writing, and almost it was a comedic relief to the writing, you know. And being from the South, being from Alabama, like that dialect and that accent, like I wanted it to be, you know, I've always heard music like that, and even the little sayings, the old school sayings that nobody really knows what they mean except for people from the South.
Like what? Like give me one.
Like if you see a turtle on a fence post, you know he didn't get there by himself. Somebody had to stick his little butt up there. That's a saying meaning everybody has to have a little bit of help sometimes.
Oh,
So,
I love that.
So like, or you know, knee high to a grasshopper, or straight as a crow flies, or something like, you know.
Yeah.
That those are all these little things. That's what I'm obsessed with, is those little sayings, little stories, little legends that have been passed down from generation to generation. And I'm from there, man. I'm from just south of Muscle Shoals and the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains in a small town. And I mean, the feeling is in those cotton fields, and it's in those rivers, and it's in the pine trees, and in the, you know, tree frogs barking at night. And that's where that New Orleans kind of spice, like I love New Orleans. I go down there all the time, and I've just always been drawn to that real honest, you know, unperfect music. It's not perfect, but it makes its imperfection makes it perfect in my ears, you know.
I love it. I was talking with Mike McFay actually, and we talked about that a little bit before this, but he is just one of your biggest fans, and he said you're just like a rocker. You're like a rocker in country music like no one's ever heard before. And I just think that is, you know, the first time I saw you was at a school, a college performance. You were at a college performing, and
Where at? You remember?
it was FAU, I think FAU.
Okay.
And it was about a year and a half ago, 2 years ago.
Okay.
And my husband and I, you know, my husband's kind of a picky country music listener.
I remember now.
And we saw you perform, and Zach was like, you know, I could listen to him forever. And for, you know, not to be whatever, but for him to say that, it's a big deal, you know, just your music is
Oh, that's
fun
good
to listen to.
That's good to hear.
Tell me okay, so you 17, you started a band, you kind of pieced it together, and you started writing, and you wrote your first song. Where did you see at that moment this going? I know it was a mess, and you're, you know, figuring everything out, but where did you see your career sort of going at that point?
You know, I've always known that everything that I've set out to do, everything in life that I've set out to do, I've done it eventually.
Yes.
Now I made 1,000 mistakes, and I probably did it the wrong way, and I probably tried. There's probably a lot easier ways to do a lot of the things, but I'm very stubborn in the fact of when I set out to do something, I envelop, you know, I literally immerse myself into it, and I obsess over it. And I don't care if it's fly fishing, taekwondo, or, you know, finding Indian airheads in the middle of, you know, I'm going to make a competition out of it, and I'm going to try to win and be the, you know, and that's just
You're gonna put it in the universe. You
Right.
said earlier, you're going to put it out there in the universe, and it's going to happen.
Yeah, I mean, just, you know, exactly.
So when you were 17, you know, what did you put out there in the universe that happened? You know, what was the very first thing that you envisioned?
You know, everything kind of caught my eye. Everything, you know, I'm very interested in a lot of different things, but music was that thing that grabbed my heart. You know, that grabbed my being, everything of me, and it was like a love story that I could not. As good or bad as it treated me, like I could never let it go. I was obsessed with it, every aspect of it, the business of the writing, of the reason that Allman Brothers licks sound like that, the reason that Dickie Betts could do that, the reason that Van Morrison wrote like he did. I dug into it, I mean deep, and spent hours and hours and hours, and you know, that's when I really, you know, realized, and I was listening. I was going to a lot of shows too. I went to a lot of. I love live music. That's my first love.
Who's your favorite of those?
Live, as far as,
Well, okay, let me rephrase that. You don't have to have a favorite of that. If you could jam with anyone, dead or alive,
Yeah.
who would that be from that live music passion?
Oh man, I think Willie pops in my head. You know, just
Yeah.
being honest. Like I've played a lot of shows with Willie and got to know him a little bit, and he's really cool. But it pops up like Stevie Ray. Stevie Ray Vaughan would be cool. Grateful Dead would be cool. From a country aspect, you know, I loved Merle Haggard and the honesty of what he did. Hank Williams Sr. But probably I would get everybody kind of gather around and like it would be like a little mix between like the Wailers with the background singers and the band, like Levon Helm playing drums with Bob Marley and his background singers, and then so I would put together like an all-star.
I love that. I
Yeah.
love that. The songwriting process to me is the most magical piece. I mean, I'm friends and appreciative so much of the background of the songwriting, and I think that that's the coolest thing. So tell me and tell our listeners what it means to you. When do you start with the melody? Do you start with the, you know, how does it work? How does it make an amazing song like you create?
Yeah, I think everybody's got their different ways that they go about it. I don't have. Sometimes it does start with a melody. Sometimes it starts with a actual natural sound. Like I'll hear a wind, the way the wind's coming across, you know, through the pines in my, you know, at my house, and that'll create a sound and an idea will turn into a lyric. And then other times it's just a real freestyle. You know, I do these things called Freestyle Fridays every Friday, and it's a real freestyle kind of stream of consciousness thing, like of just about an experience. I believe in, you know, experiences. I woke up this morning at 6 a.m. after going to bed at 2 a.m. because I wanted to get out and just go see how the ocean felt and surf. I love going out there and surfing, and that, like, I wrote down today, you know, certain ways I felt about that ocean and about, I mean, being in the ocean in November for me, you know, is kind of, that's a different thing for me. So I write so many different ways and so many different, you know, avenues, but I usually keep it up, and I'll just kind of start something on the guitar, and I'll have an idea, like I'll have a hook, like, you can't always get what you want, you know. I'll have that hook, I'll have that line in my head, or I'll have, you know, you can't roller skate in a buffalo herd or something like that, you know, like something weird or crazy like that. And then I'll start building it around that, what that makes me feel like, what that makes me, you know, just what kind of thoughts that it evokes, and I'll go off that, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, I love it.
So there's no rhyme or reason. There's no formula, and I have no idea what it is. I just try to be as honest as I can, like really honest, because the listeners can hear that. The listeners and the people hear honesty when
Yes.
you're talking about it. So when I'm writing, I always really cut myself open, and you know, and it's embarrassing sometimes. It is, because it's like I am insecure and I am secure all at the same time.
Yeah.
Like I think a lot of artists, if they really admit it, they don't know they've got something good. I don't know that I've got something good until I don't. You know, a lot of my record's out right now, and it's vulnerable, man. I'm spliced open at the core, you know, because I'm my biggest critic, you know. I'm gonna cut everything in half and look at it under a microscope, and that's what songwriting is for me. It's like sometimes this joyful, easy, like dee thing, and then sometimes it's like grueling, painful, and that's why it's songwriting, and that's why it's hard and beautiful, and that's why it's kind of it's my, you know, it's my bliss.
I love that. And speaking of your other bliss in your life, your beautiful wife Alex, and I know that your next release song, you're talking all about her. So tell me about that song.
Well, making me look good again. That is that song that the saying, if you see a turtle on a fence post, the turtle didn't get there by itself. Like somebody had to stick his butt up there. That is when Alex came into my life, like she makes everybody around her better. She's one of those people. She's magnetic, and you know from your experience, like when people want to be around her, kids want to love her, dogs want to come to her, people, you know, it's just like she's like Mary Poppins in 2016. It's weird, and I started. Somebody said her dad actually said, "Oh, she makes you look good. She makes you look good."
Yeah.
And everybody, I think, you know, a lot of people say that. Well, she makes you look pretty good standing beside. So there you go, making me look good again. And the first words of that song are, you know, worn and haggard. And I come in off the road and I smell. I mean, I don't smell bad because I take, you know, a couple of showers a week. But it's like I'm probably not. Is, you know, I'm rough, I'm worn, I'm haggard, I'm that. And she's like, all right, come in, I got some chicken noodle soup, and I got I got a good salad made for you, I got some good water, coffee's going, and it's just like, everything's gonna be all right. Like the road's great, and roads where, but when you've been out there 3 weeks and you come home to Alex, she embraces you, and she's a nurturer at heart, and she would give, you know, the heart out of her chest to help somebody she doesn't even know. So that's the way she is, and that's what the song's about. It's all about her being that wonderful human being that she is.
Well, that's a beautiful story. You're making me want to cry. Yeah. That's the most beautiful love story. I mean, you could just write a whole book on what you just said about your pretty wife. That's so fun. She's doing amazing things on her own as well with her business, and the milk and honey thing. I think that's like such a fun thing. Yeah. You just told me about a fun partnership that you're doing with Geico, and you're hitting the road with some pretty cool sponsorships and you know, endorsing some people. So tell us about that and who else. You know, who else you also might want to partner up with, and where you see that?
Well, looking at this whole landscape, the whole shifting of the music industry and how that I've had to make it work. One of my artists that I look up to is Springsteen. And Springsteen goes out there, no lights, no frill, no anything, and he plays for 4 hours with his band. And I've read his books, and his thing is, it's the music's gonna sell the music, and that's the music, and I'm not gonna put anything, you know, that, and I love that about him. Yeah. So I preed that up. I said that for a certain purpose, and that's that I believe in music and I believe in entertainment, and when you come to one of my shows, I want it to be an experience. I want you to remember it and tell. You know, I want you to feel something and be motivated to go out and have a better day, or help somebody, or do something, you know, or, you know, chase your goals. But in this landscape, in the new landscape, like I told you, I'm obsessed with the business of it and getting the people that deserve to reap the benefits of the art. I'm obsessed with making sure that they get those benefits. And so it's the band and the writers and the people that are creative, and it's those partnerships with, you know, my label and these companies out there that allow us to roll down the road. I mean, I did so many shows for free, and they're still doing, you know, just don't tell anybody, but like I'm doing, you know, you go out there and you do $400 and $500 shows. When my band costs, you know, the money doesn't work. So you have to reach out to people and say, look, here's how this can be a mutually beneficial relationship. Like I can help your product, you can help my product. So we got this amazing opportunity with Geico, and to be honest with you, I walked in to Geico and I was like, I don't even want to do this. unless this song, I have this vision for this song, the song that they liked, Heartbeat, and I had it, and I just laid it out there. I said, this is the way I want to do it, and I want to do it live, and I want the live recording on the commercial. And Donnie, the producer, he said, well, yeah, I'd love George Massenburg to produce it. George Massenburg has done like James Taylor, Linda Ronstadt, like he's done all the live stuff that I love. A lot of the live stuff that I love is recorded by him. Well, everybody's told me my whole career, he's so good live. He's so good live, he hasn't captured on his records what he does live yet. Well, there was the answer. And when Donnie said that, I was like, well, that's awesome. Anyway, we cut this great commercial with Geico, and George Massenburg produced it, produced the music, and we played a 2-hour show in Austin to get one take of Heartbeat. And I mean, we played a 2-hour show, a sold out show in Austin at the Parish, and he recorded every song, and it's going to be something special. I think it's going to be cool, and the common thread through my music is disconnect. You know, we love our cell phones, we love our computers. I love mine. I'm able to do a lot of stuff on mine, but my common thread is turn them off and experience real life, and experience the birds and the bees and everything around you. And George is very, very much the same in his thinking, and that's what this commercial tells the story of. It tells the story of two people that are in their phones, and then the music makes them disconnect, and then they have this great experience. So it's really cool. I can't wait for people to see it.
That's so cool. I think it's such a hard balance, I think, for artists too, to find that, you know, people really want to be on their phones and instead of just enjoying it. I'm totally guilty of it, you know. I mean, it's part of what we do,
all are,
and I just think that is such a great just message to your listeners. Is I'm really just, you're trying to get them so entranced that they don't even think about their phone to grab it, and I think you do that really well. I mean, it's amazing. Tell me where you see yourself in 10 years. You talked to me a little bit earlier about, you know, helping artists and building, you know, helping them build their brand right along with you. And I think that's a beautiful, selfless thing, and that means a lot to you. And so tell me, you know, with people along the way and helping other people, and then also where you see yourself.
Yeah, the 5 or 6, you know, organizations from a philanthropic side that we've sat down and really thought about that I see myself kind of, you know, growing those relationships and getting more ideas. We have ideas and brainstorms every single day. I'm just that type of person, and I just want to help people that may not, if you got a learning disability, or you got this or you got that. Like I had problems in school sometimes, and this and that, and like, if you're interested in football, you don't have to be the best athlete to have a career in football. You can go work in football in many different ways and help people do that because you're passionate, and like showing people that and kind of steering people in the right way. I had a couple of key people in my life that helped me do that, and I contribute a lot of my, you know, success to them, because if they wouldn't have said, no, stick with it, stick with that, keep doing that, you're good at that, I may not have done this. I may be working, you know, just a normal job somewhere. So I see like me going in and speaking, you know, to young kids, to high schools or whatever. I would love to do that. I would love to, you know, obviously continue to grow my live audience, and you know, ultimately we've been opening up for Zach Brown for the last year, and then finished the year up, you know, with Dirks, and I've taken so much education from those guys, and I want to play unbelievable places in this world and make moments for people in order to create my platform to serve, you know, God, and to serve, you know, my fans, and to serve people. Just be a lover of people, and just be unbelievably consumed with fire, with music and God and people and just do it for the rest of my life. So where I see myself in 10 years is, playing 150 shows a year. Alex's Milk and Honey company is booming. She's got a storefront. She's got maybe a couple or two or three. I'm putting 35, 40,000 people in venues all across the world. I've got, clean water and environmental issues going on. I'm doing, ideas. We have a mentoring, business with kids that come in and Alex helps them, I help them. And, that's where I see myself in 10 years and continuing to be the live thing. I hope I have 10 albums out,
Yeah.
10, 12 albums out, and I hope I've got, 3 or 4 kids, and
Hear that, Alex?
Yeah, she's the one. She knows that. She's like, yeah, let's do it. But yeah, that's it. I want to play music for the rest of my life and make music, and I want my writing, to be in a more well-read place. I'm reading books. I want to read more and become, just better. I want to compete with myself 5 years prior, compete with myself always in the future, to be the man that my kids my kids need me to be, and the one that, that Alex thinks I am, and Mom thinks I am, and Dad, everybody. I want to constantly keep striving to squeeze every bit of, goodness out of my talents that I can while I'm on this earth, because I got about 60 more years if I live to be 100, so 103. So I think 60 years, you ask about 10, but I'm giving you 60.
I love it.
We might as well.
I love it.
I want to start now, like being very deliberate about my time and my time management.
Yes.
Go in and change the world with it and make it a better place.
Well, I look forward to seeing you in 10 years and having this exact same conversation and having seen all 10 years and then some. I think everything that you said you'll do, and you will, and you spoke it in the universe, and I'm sure you pray about it, and you've just got it out there, and I think it's amazing. You are an inspiring human to me, and I just I want everybody to get your music and help you with your goals, because you in turn are going to help all of those people. So yes. I think that's amazing. I'm a lover of people as well. So thank you. Give me a hug. Thank you. This is Drake White, and this has been an episode of People Of, and now he's going to play us something fun.
Worn and haggard, weathered and torn, drugged through the keyhole, that back door, bloodshot and red, behind these shades, look like hell. I've seen better days. Those loving arms, they pull me back in. Their yoke up behavior, making me look good again. I'm rust on the barbed wire, I'm dust on the chrome. I'm the heart that bleeds in an old country song. Loving arms, they pull lace, denim and pearls, whiskey and wine, but it go just fine, like you and me, girl. Yeah. You smile at me and say, there ain't standing in that kitchen. Been a long day at work. She slips her hands right under my shirt. Oh, we know it's a lovely night. She pulls me there again. There you go, baby, yeah. You're making me look good again. There you go, baby. Making me look good again.